welcome in everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. That's the coast to coast intro, but wherever you are, however you may be listening, that is the Wednesday wrap up intro. It's been a long morning already. How you doing, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. And I do got to tell you, happy birthday, man. And that's why you have such a long day.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And Mom stopping through already. Hey. Yeah, no, between covering the Kraken last night and then getting home and getting ready for the show this morning, I got like 3 hours of sleep. So, it's funny. People keep asking, they're like, "Are you gonna go out and party and do something?" I'm like, I'm gonna try and go to bed. Like, if I
you're young, you can do it. You're fine. You're a healthy young strapping man over there. You're good.
No. I was about 20 years ago. Now my body is like, yeah, pretty sure you should take a nap.
It's interesting though. We back in the day, 9 o'clock was my bedtime when I was in school, and I used to hate it then. And now I'm like, damn, 9 o'clock sounds really good right now.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, think about like elementary school age when you're like, I'm absolutely not taking a nap, and now you're like, can I have some of those? Like, can I take those now? Like,
man, I know that all feeling all too well. Hey, let me ask you a question, man. Look, it has been a while since the names of Joker, LeBron,
sure,
a couple other guys I know have been throwing in and out of the MVP conversation. I know Embiid was in there for a little while, and he probably got one, if I'm not mistaken. But now, is there anybody? I can't imagine anybody that's challenged at SGA this year. That dude just put up a 40-piece on Orlando the other night to clinch a playoff spot. And I can't imagine anybody that's more valuable to their team and is doing it the way he's doing. I mean, he's just dominating, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's the shoe-in for it. And then if I'm not mistaken, a couple of the other guys that could have even been in the conversation missed too much time to even be eligible.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know that anybody can take it from him.
I cannot imagine the closest performance, at least in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, whatever, that I thought would have challenged him would have been Joker's triple double season.
Sure.
When he was averaging a triple double like every night. That was the closest I've seen that could challenge him. And I haven't seen anybody this year. And there's been a lot. We can say Wembanyama. You can make a case for him, but not on SGA's level.
Yeah, he's in the conversation. I don't think he wins, but he's in the conversation.
Right.
And he should be, right? Because, I mean, the MVP, it's that middle letter that is the key element there is valuable, right? Now, that's not generally how it gets decided. It's usually like a scoring title, really, or or in the NFL, it's it's a quarterback award.
Right.
So, it's funny because if it's based just on its face and you actually do it as the most valuable player, in this case, it's still SGA, right? Like he's killing it. But then Wemby has a stronger case, right?
Right.
What's up, Jonesy?
Even Wemby, man, like the players they're putting around Wembanyama is just, I mean, he's getting a really nice set of players, right? With Castle and Vassell, and who's the other guy they got? Harper, and then they got Darren Fox. I mean, he's got a slew of guys around him now that really he at some point, if it's not this year, I gotta imagine within the next year or two, they're gonna make that leap to being title contenders at some point.
Yeah, I don't think you're far removed from it. I wouldn't rule them out already. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, I wouldn't rule them out now. I mean, once you get into the playoffs, then you just have to go on a run, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I wouldn't count them out. I don't think they're a favorite, but I wouldn't say they couldn't do it.
Right. And I don't want to be disrespectful to the Pistons or the Celtics and what they've done. I don't want to be disrespectful to the Rockets. That's my team, or even the Lakers and a couple of Denver Nuggets, obviously. But I got to tell you, man, I really believe, this is my personal opinion, but I believe that San Antonio, in my opinion, is the only team that can stop SGA and company from getting a repeat. I really don't know that the East can do it.
No. Yeah, I don't think so. It is Brad, Jamie's not on the show, man. That was the earlier show.
He must have saw me and said, "Oh, it must be Pags."
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's I always like that. I always like that phrase of "I don't want to be disrespectful," which generally means immediately
you're gonna be.
I'm gonna be disrespectful.
And I guess when I say it, it's like I don't want to be like taking these teams. I don't want to come off as like taking these teams lightly. Is where I'm coming from, right? I mean, there's some good teams over there, but I just don't know if anybody that has the level of strength on that team, whether it be the bench, the depth, whatever, that the superstar levels, whatever, that can compete with them, other than maybe San Antonio. I think San Antonio, in my opinion, is the only one that can really do that.
San Antonio can, if you get the Pistons in the right week, right? Because they're a little bit streaky, they could potentially do it. Again, it's unlikely, but at the end of the day, OKC is still the far away favorite. Like, and you knew they were last year. Like when you looked at the construction of that team and how young they were, the fact that basically everyone was coming back, you're like, oh yeah, they're set up to go back to back.
Right.
So I mean, really, this is their title to lose. Like they are the favorite, no question. So.
I thought it was funny in last night's game, and I caught the highlight. I didn't actually watch the game because I was watching a couple other things. But he took Alex Caruso took his shoe because I guess his shoe came off, and the dude was going up for a layup, and Alex Caruso just swats it with the shoe, and he gets a technical or not, but he just gets a regular foul on it. But I'm like, how many people don't get a foul on a shoe?
I mean, because you're not allowed to use props. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was funny. And Rob, yes, we are going to get a team because this is out of the hands of Adam Silver. So if you listen to his press conference a few weeks ago, he alluded to the fact that they weren't for sure on the cities, right? Which really made it sound like he was going to try and find a way to hose Seattle one more time just for good measure. But in his press conference, 3 days ago now, the cities were already decided. So it is Seattle and Vegas. So now the voting comes in on the 24th and 25th of this month. And basically that is to approve the expansion, which I don't foresee that not being a thing. I'd be really surprised because their ratings has now overtaken Major League Baseball. And so you might as well capitalize on the fact that you are, the second most watched sport. So if there was ever a time to expand, this is it. Vegas, they want the team there anyway. And there's been so much pressure from within the league and from outside the league to bring the Sonics back. Yes, Seattle gets another team. It'll all come down to what does the ownership group look like? Those types of things. But as far as Seattle being listed as the city that's getting it, that's already a thing. So now it's just approving the expansion, which again, I don't foresee that being an issue. And then finding the correct ownership group to come into Seattle and get this thing off the ground. Obviously, we already have the stadium because that's where the Kraken and the Storm already play. In fact, that's how we got the NHL, was we had to retrofit that stadium. And so we already have all the accommodations we need. So yeah, now we just have to go through the vote here in 7 days. And Sonics should be back for the 27-28 season. So the first year of the new TV contract.
I got to tell you, I think the ownership group that bought the Seahawks, they should turn around and go buy this or get the Seattle Supersonics because, like you said earlier, Seattle's such a huge sports town.
Seattle hasn't sold yet. The Seahawks.
I thought they had an ownership group that was buying them though already.
No.
I thought that was already in.
No. They're for sale, but they haven't been purchased.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they had an ownership. I thought I saw the ownership group had already put their stake in on it. But okay, I guess I saw something different. Okay.
And yes, absolutely. You can bust out the Sonics here. This is the first time you have real hope that the Sonics are coming back. It's not a done deal yet. Obviously, the ownership hasn't been put together, and it does have to get through the voting process again. I don't think there's really a scenario where it doesn't, but until it actually comes through, I am a fan of not collecting a win until the clock has triple zeros. So as much as you think that it could be a done deal, there's always that sliver. And so, yeah, until there's 3 zeros on the clock, I never count a win. So
you're saying you don't want to be hurt emotionally, because that would emotionally devastate you if you went all in and they didn't get it.
No. I think it's foolish to do that. I mean, we've all watched sports and stuff long enough that if you count a win before it's a win, funny things happen, right? And one of the best examples of that was a Seahawks game, NFC Championship against Green Bay. They were getting absolutely smoked until 4 minutes to go in that game. And, they end up going to their second Super Bowl in a row. So, you can't take your foot off the gas. You got to, and that's true whether it's in sports, business, whatever. Until that thing is finalized and there's a signature at the bottom, it's not a done deal. So,
I thought it was interesting. I saw a comment. Forget where I was watching. I think it might have been on Facebook. I saw it. It was when the Houston Rockets played the Lakers the other night. Now, obviously, Houston took the loss on that one. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win. But I thought it was kind of funny. They showed a clip from the pregame before they actually took the court. And Jabari Smith Jr. walks up to LeBron and says, my dad played against you in Seattle, I guess in Sacramento. And he's like, man, you make me feel old.
Yep. I mean, he is at this point, right? Like, he's playing with guys now that weren't even born when he got into the league. So, I mean,
yeah,
there is that. He did also come out and say that he's not going to dive on the floor for loose balls anymore. So that's how he's getting up there, right? When you're like, the ground hurts, I'm going to stop doing that.
That's when you're old. When you have to think about how you're going to get down to the ground and then get back up again, and it takes you a few minutes to really that's when you're old. You have definitely crossed that plateau. And I think that's where Braun is at. My question is, he still plays at a pretty decent level. I mean, he's not the greatest ever anymore. I mean, he's just a moderate player, but he still gives you, some good minutes here and there. How much longer do you think he goes before he hangs it up? How much longer do you think he's got?
He craves the spotlight so much that I wouldn't be surprised if he has an entire year of a farewell tour, right? Which makes me think he's coming back next year, right? Because he hasn't started it this year. But I mean, as much as he likes to say it's not about me and all of that, his actions basically speak out the other side of his face. And so, he has them giving him another patch to wear on his jersey, right? Where it says that he's made the most field goals in league history. I don't recall any other star making the league give them patches, for anything, right? So yeah, LeBron's funny when he's like, oh, I don't want the limelight. And then as soon as he sees a camera anywhere, he's like, oh, look at me. So I don't know.
Patches.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now. We're giving patches.
Yeah. He's going to have, he's going to have the merit badges across his jersey. I don't know, man. It's Braun's a funny creature. So I expect him to play one more year. Because he's going to want the farewell tour. So it's going to be at least one, maybe two, right? If he doesn't do it next year, maybe he does it the year after. But yeah, he's going to want every stadium I walk in. I want the the farewell video, and I don't know. It's going to be ridiculous. You can see the train coming.
You knew. I mean, you knew it was all about him when he had the decision thing. When he had that whole show about the decision, that's what you knew it was all about LeBron. Nobody else does that. No, Jordan never did it. You know, Kobe never. All the great ones never did it. It's just that's something that he does, and it's okay. Look, if you want to market yourself that way, I ain't mad at you, man. It's all about the dollar at the end of the day, and if that maximizes your dollars, it maximizes your dollars. I just want to know: are we going to get a farewell tour show before the season starts? Going to be going to the farewell tour.
Oh, no. It'll be filmed during the season so that after he's done, it can be released one episode at a time to annoy people.
So what you're telling me is he's going to copy The Last Dance by Michael Jordan and just try to do one more thing like Jordan was. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. But it's going to be like immediately after instead of waiting, 20 years. Because he doesn't want to have to do the work anymore, but he still wants to be in the news cycle every day. So, I don't know. It's funny.
It's interesting, to say the least.
Again, I mean, it's not to take anything away from the guy. Obviously, he's, played at an incredible level forever, right? I mean, he's been in the league 20 some years, right? So, I mean, impressive. The numbers are impressive because, he's amassed those numbers over that amount of time. But at the same time, you're like, dude, come on.
and let's be honest, it's not like Bryce, his next son up, he's not that far away from the league either. I mean, he's probably, a year or two if he wants to go, G League or whatever. He's not far off from it. I think he's another year or two maybe away from being in the NBA if he follows his brother's footsteps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's good enough to play in the league either. Like he'll probably get his shot if Braun is still around, I guess. Right. But it's one of the things I find hilarious with Bronny, right? Is that they keep posting all these like, look at these numbers, and you're like, dude, it's the G League. Like, calm down. Right?
I mean, you're right. No, you're right though. If he was posting those numbers in the NBA, we'd be having a different conversation. But you're right. It's the minor leagues.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if he was doing that in the NBA, all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, okay, like kid's legit, right? But instead, he comes in, in spurts and doesn't look particularly good. And then, he puts up big numbers in the G League, but who cares? Right? I mean, that's like batters that are batting, 500 in AAA. It's like, great. You bat a 197 in the pros. So like, what are we talking about?
I mean, let's be honest. If you look at most superstars in basketball, their kids don't really go on to do much. Pippen's son hasn't really done much. Harper's son actually did do something. He's with San Antonio. He did go in the first round, so he is doing a little something. But really, it's the Dale Currys of the league, right? That are actually putting good products out there in Steph Curry and Seth Curry, right? I mean, it's a one-offs that their kids go on to do something great and not necessarily always a superstar.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the time they don't become superstars, that's for sure. But like, Peyton Jr., he's put together a decent career. Like he's not an all-star or anything like that. Like he's a role player kind of guy, but he's kind of carved his own thing out. So I mean, there are guys, right? But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's a big shadow to get out from under anyway.
It is. That's a huge shadow to get out from underneath.
Like if you got Hall of Fame guys that you're following up, the expectation is to be a Hall of Fame guy. So, I mean, that sort of sets these kids back anyway, because the expectation is so high. And so they don't even get the time to develop. They get thrust into that limelight, put in situations that they're probably not really ready for. And so, yeah, I mean, most of the guys don't reach that level, right? Now, if their dad was like an average player, you wouldn't think twice about it. Right.
100%.
So it's just because we're talking about, generational guys that are in the Hall of Fame that were, even if they weren't your team, you heard about them all the time. It's like, yeah, the odds of you duplicating that as their kid is not super good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I was thinking about this earlier today too, even when they were talking about SGA and when he had the 40 point last night and how well he's doing. I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, it's not like Jordan was a face during my time, and then now Braun is the face during, I guess, this time or a little bit before this time, however you want to call it.
Sure.
But I'm wondering who the next face is going to be. SGA makes a pretty good case. I think Luka makes a pretty good case. Joker makes a good one. Who do you see anybody that's in your mind? Do you think that's going to be the next face of the NBA?
So I mean, not that's currently playing. It's an interesting landscape as it sits today because you don't have that one guy that's just dominating the league. Right. You've got quite a few pretty good guys, and then you could even say elite guys, but right. None of them are running away with the league per se. So yeah, I don't know that you're necessarily going to have like one guy for this upcoming era, at least that's currently in the league. Maybe there's a kid that's coming up that comes in and really changes stuff again. But no, I think it's going to be a year to year. This is kind of the face this year, right?
Right.
Because yeah, oh, good.
No, I was gonna say, it just seems to me like even Wembanyama, I remember when he was drafted, even before he was drafted first overall by the Spurs, how much everybody was putting so much in hype into Wembanyama. And not that he's lived up. I mean, he's doing what he said he was going to do, right? He said he's going to do great things, and he is doing great things. I mean, the guy gets 4 or 5 blocks every night and makes it look effortlessly. He's got a good shot. He's got good range, right? He dominates pretty well in the paint. So I'm kind of wondering if Wemby might be that next guy. Obviously he's still young, so he has a lot more growing to do. Yeah. But it just seems like he could, if he can stay injury free and really play at the level he's playing, I think over time he could possibly become the face.
He could. Why I don't think he does is he reminds me of every other Spur where he's just quiet. And that doesn't generally get you the face of the league, right? He just goes, he does his work, he dominates, but he's kind of that Tim Duncan kind of guy, right? Incidentally, still with Spurs, right? But but I mean, it's funny because you never thought of Duncan as the face of the league ever, right? But then you look at his career and you're like, oh, he won every other championship. Like every other year they were in the championship getting a ring for like 5 rings. And you're just like, he should have been lauded in that, but because he was just quiet, right? He just quietly did his job, went in, won rings, and then that was it, right? And then his career was over. And you probably couldn't even tell me the last year of his career because he was so quiet. He was playing and then poof, he was gone. He was gone. Unless you were a Spurs fan or specifically a Duncan fan, like he didn't necessarily have a memorable time because he never brought the cameras to it. But when you look at his numbers, you're like, that should have been way more memorable than it was.
And I wonder if that's a team dynamic thing. The reason why I said is when he was drafted, they asked him a question and his comment, I forget what the question exactly was, but I remember his comment being that he was going to bring a championship to San Antonio. Like he's going to win an NBA championship soon. Sure. I mean, he made and I mean, that's a big statement when you just got drafted and you're already saying, I'm good. I mean, he is quiet, but there have been a couple of times when he'll say a couple of, okay, I'm going to hold on to that quote,
But then when you stack a guy that has like 2 sound bites over a 20-year career and you have, you pair that with guys like Kobe and Braun and, guys that really attract the cameras because he's got the same amount of rings as, Kobe, one more than Braun. And, but he's not the guy you think of because he just didn't make a lot of noise.
Right.
You could actually say something similar, still sticking with the Spurs and David Robinson, right? Yeah. phenomenal player, but he didn't exactly chase the limelight either.
Right.
So
I think that's just that's more like a.
It might just be a Spurs thing.
I was about to say, I think that's just a Spurs thing. That whole team has been like that. I mean, since day one, that might even be a Popovich, just Popovich's legacy still being on that team. Because you're right, the Spurs don't really have guys that talk like that.
No, I mean, but they win. You know,
that's all the talking you got to do, I guess, is when you win.
I'm a fan of that one. You know, just go get rings.
Yes,
you can chat you can chirp all you want. Go get rings.
That's not a good soundbite. I don't know what it is. Just go get some rings.
That's right. Honestly, having a media agent probably would have been good. At the same time, some of these guys want to fade away. Like they want to come in, they want to do their thing. And then when their career's over, they want to be able to just walk away and have people not really recognize them. And I can kind of appreciate that. You go, you get all your money, you get the championships, and then you don't get hassled the rest of your life. I get it. Like that does have an appeal to it.
No, it does. I mean, and all of them are like that. Bruce Bowen, Tony Parker, Ginobili. They all had that same quality of not really talking, but just handling their business on the court.
Yeah, I mean, Parker did a little more, but yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of that. Like, because I like seeing somebody's play outshine their talk, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in my playing days, there was a lot of people that like to bap gums, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, show me something out here on the grass. Like, let's do that, And most of the time, it was a lot of talk and then not a lot of backing it up. So I'm fine with guys that don't want to talk and just go get hardware.
I think I don't think there's necessarily bad with a little talk, because I think a little talk, you gotta have a little talk in you, because some of it is a psychological warfare game, right? You're trying to get into the guy's head a little bit.
I'm not mad at it. I actually play better when people would do it. So I encourage you to talk to me, right? It's like, oh, okay. Like if you were actually being nice to me, I probably had one of my worst games, right? But if you were like, oh, you're slow and I'm going to, all of this stuff, it's like, okay, well, buckle up, son. Like,
buckle up, buttercup. It's about to be a ride.
But but if you're on the other side of the line there and you're dapping me up and be like, hey man, like your game, whatever, that would throw me off my game. Like I needed you to kind of be a jerk. Like,
it's interesting when we talk about playing and, we talk about chirping and we talk about all these things, that go along with the game. I gotta ask you, I know you had to watch, I watched the World Baseball. That's what I was watching last night, was the World Baseball Classic. And I'm assuming you probably caught most of that, right? Most of the Baseball Classic, or at least caught pieces of it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so even last night when I was at the Kraken game, up in the media spot, we have these little TVs that are located every like 10 spots or so. And right. I happened to be positioned with one of them in my spot. So I had the Baseball Classic on that, and then the game I was covering in front of me. So I was watching it. It was kind of a terrible final.
It was horrible. It was. I mean, if you're a fan of Venezuela, it was great because the thing about that game was it was very defensive, right? Like great pitching, right? Good pitching, good fielding. Didn't really see hardly any errors. But the problem was and really there wasn't even a whole lot of offense, even on Venezuela's side or our side. But it's just Venezuela got a few more, lucky hits than we did. I mean, when I look at our team, we're slow with all-star players. I mean, you look at this team, and it's straight all-stars almost for the most part. But these all-stars, what do you have? And that's another thing. Kyle Riley. Why was Kyle Riley not playing last night? Nothing against Will Smith. I like Will Smith, but why was Kyle not playing?
So Cal wasn't playing because he hadn't hit the ball in like all of the games leading up to it. The problem is once you got to the 8th inning, right? And obviously Harper jacks one's out and ties it up, and that's great. But you probably should have had Cal come in and pinch hit, right? Just be like, hey, you know what? We got to try something so we don't there's no tomorrow. Right? Like, this is the championship game. So I was surprised there weren't some of those moves. I wasn't real impressed with DeRosa as the manager in general.
Right.
So that being said, I thought they probably should have done some sort of pinch hitting type of thing there in the 8th and 9th, just because for no other reason, the guys that were out there weren't getting it done. So
Right.
you got to make some adjustments. They didn't do that. They immediately give up that run in the 9th to Venezuela. And, kudos to Venezuela. Like, they earned that win.
Right.
Like, their pitching was dominating. The fact that there was no personnel changes on the U.S. side was surprising. I thought for sure there'd be some pinch hitting towards the end.
What I don't understand is you got two hits going into like the 6th or 7th inning. 2. And we're not making changes. And Aaron Judge has done struck out 3 times. What are we doing? Schwarber's up there striking out. Everybody's up there striking. They had like 15 strikeouts. What are we? I don't look. If you get grounders or double plays off a grounder, or you're popping in the outfield, or whatever the case may be, if you're just making contact, okay, I can say you did at least something. But when you're striking out 15 times out of 27 bats, we got a problem. And you're not substituting nobody.
And that's exactly why Cal wasn't playing, is because he was not even making contact. Like, he was not. He did not look sharp. And Rob, I mean, I talked about this the other day. I do think that Cal regresses. I don't know that he's a 30 home run guy. Like, I say he could probably still get close to 40, right? Because they don't pitch around him. He's not a good enough hitter that you just walk him. Right now, obviously he yanks them out, but when you look at his batting average, it's not a great batting average, right? So it's not, you always have in the back of your mind, he could jack one out, but I'm probably going to strike him out. Right. And so he's going to get all of his opportunities because we don't play small ball particularly well with this current roster. And so we do rely a little bit on this, jacking it out. So a lot of his home runs are single shots because we struggle to get guys on base. I mean, that's why his RBI totals weren't crazy. Despite the fact he had, all these home runs, his RBI total wasn't amazing. So that lets you know that there's not guys in front of him getting on the bag. So based on his batting average and the lack of production in front of him, he's going to get his opportunities. So I think he's going to be somewhere in that 30 to 40 home run area, right? Probably like mid 30s to like 41, 42. Like that's sort of the window I expect Cal to hit.
If you're getting 31, 32, even 40 home runs a season, hey, I'll take that any day of the week. All right. As long as your batting average supports it. Don't give me a crappy batting average.
Well, so that's the thing, is he doesn't have a great batting average, right? Like it was like a 240 or something like that. I mean, it wasn't amazing. He's got a lot of power. He can hit both directions, but yeah, I mean, he's not a scary enough hitter to want to go around him. So,
let me say this. I feel like Aaron Judge is overhyped. I think Aaron Judge is amazing. Regular season guy, oh, he's great. He'll give you the averages. He'll give you but it just seems like when it's on the line, like when we get the playoffs or the game's on the line, like it was even last night against Venezuela, he strikes out 3 times. Come on, Aaron. Come on, you're better than this.
That is literally what I said in the morning show today. Is Judge looked like postseason Judge in this final game when it all mattered. It looked like the spot was too big for him, and that is exactly what we've come to expect for him when it gets to the playoffs. Like, he will play out of his mind all regular season. Soon as the lights are the brightest, he kind of shrinks in the moment.
Yeah, I told a friend of mine the other day, I see, he reminds me of the James Harden during the Houston Rocket years. Great regular season, disappears postseason, don't even know he's out there. What are we doing? And correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron Judge was the captain of this team. Well, am I right or wrong? I'm pretty sure he was if I understood right, he was the captain of the team.
So that I don't know offhand, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. I mean, you're talking about last year's MVP, so
Right.
that wouldn't shock me at all. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, he came up short, he came up small in that game, but it's literally what we're used to seeing out of Judge.
Mhm.
So I don't know why anybody would be surprised by it, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of what we've come to expect.
If I was that team, now I don't know how they select the captain. I don't know if that's a team selection thing, if that's a coach's selection. I don't know how that occurs. But what I do know is this: I felt like on that team, if it was my call, like if I was DeRosa, you know, we all love Aaron Judge, but he would not have been my captain. I would have Bryce Harper as my captain, because I feel like Bryce has just a little bit more passion, a little bit more aggressiveness in wanting to win. I feel like sometimes Aaron Judge is a little bit too relaxed. Like I don't see that sense of passion come out of him. And maybe that's just his demeanor, and that's fine if it is. I just feel like Bryce Harper would have been the more motivational kind of guy at that captain spot.
I mean, he's a more fiery personality, so I get what you're saying there. Because I mean, Judge is more of that even keel kind of guy. So like, I get what you mean. But I think it had everything to do with the fact that he was the MVP last year.
I'm sure.
You know, and who knows? Who knows how the captain was selected for that particular team, right? I mean, could have been players, could have been the coach, could have been a combination. Like, who knows? But yeah. I mean, this is the second classic in a row that the U.S. came up short too, because I think they finished second last time also.
Yeah, Japan got them last year. But here's my problem. We saw this game actually come to fruition in the Dominican Republic game, right? We got lucky in the Dominican Republic game where they did get a couple of home runs, and I think it was like the fifth or sixth inning that ultimately gave them the win. But it wasn't like we were just blowing it up against the Dominican Republic either. I mean, we were getting spanked pretty good in that game. And I felt like that just kind of carried over into the Venezuelan game. And look, I'm sorry, when you have this caliber of an all-star roster, like literally could be any all-star team in the world, when you got that kind of that kind of talent on your team, and you're coming up empty against damn near the DR and also Venezuela, that's a problem for me. Like I feel like we should have been a little bit more dominant. Not taking anything away from his Venezuela pitching or Dominican Republic pitching. I just felt like we should have. I felt like the result that we should have expected out of this lineup should have been much better than what we got.
Yeah, the offensive production really in the second half of the Classic really wasn't very good. And you know, again, maybe some of that is these guys were slumping. It's spring training, basically, timeline wise. At the same time, you can't take anything away from those pitching staffs. I mean.
Yeah. Right.
Those pitching staffs are just, it's stacked with MLB guys, right?
It is.
So, I mean, it's not like these are, you know, some back home guys that, you know, never touched the league. I mean, you're talking about high caliber MLB starters are their starters. So, I mean, you know, it's not like it's a huge shock that they were able to dominate. I think it was just a shock that with an all-star team, you couldn't get any offensive production.
Right. Yeah, that just blew my mind. When I saw the caliber of players that we were putting in this roster, I was like, man, this looks pretty good. But I think it's like you did say too, though, Bo, you can't have too many power hitters because their averages aren't exactly the best. You got to have sprinkle in some contact hitters as well.
Exactly.
And I think maybe that's where we were missing the mark was the contact hitters, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of guys that wanted to yank it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of like in basketball, if all of your guys are 3-point shooters, you live and die by the three. So if you're not hitting, you ain't winning. And you know, that's the thing is you needed some guys that can just smack at the ball and get it in play. And you had a roster full of guys that wanted to dent cars in the parking lot. And again, that's fine if you're making the contact, but anytime it's an all or nothing situation, as soon as it's nothing, you know, there's nothing you can do about it because these are one and done kind of situations. Like in a series, you might be able to work your way through that. In a one and done, you need guys that can make contact. And so I never like it when you're building rosters of guys that can only pull the ball.
100%. I felt like Bruce Bochy would have been a good a good selection for a manager of that ball club. I like the way he manages the game. I like the way he does things, especially when I saw what he did with the Rangers.
Sure.
Even when he went to the World Series with the Rangers. I mean, he knows how to handle veterans. He knows how to handle situations. He's a good tactician. What I like about him too is he doesn't rely solely on analytics. Like he actually has a feel for the game.
But it also means he can do math. So he would have known that game against Italy mattered.
You would have thought. One would always think that every game matters. It is what it is.
That was ridiculous. But all of that to say, shout out to Venezuela. Way to get the first win in your history in the WBC. So that is very cool. So congrats to them on getting that win, and well earned. Like
it was well earned.
One of them. So
that was well earned.
And they didn't get awesome offensive production either, right? So I mean, they worked their way in there with pitching. So
yeah,
kudos to them.
And Waller Abreu put up a pretty nice showing for them yesterday. I mean, like you said, it was a whole lot of offense, but when it counts, he was there. He was usually a part of the mix in those energized moments.
Yeah. No, he was clutch when it needed to happen.
Yeah.
No question.
Oh, Venezuela. Good job.
Yep. So
hey,
cool.
question.
Yeah, go for it.
So no, I was just gonna ask you. So I just saw Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
Got this. I know we're gonna talk a little bit of free agency. Jalen Waddle gets picked up by Denver. Yep. Bo Nix gets another nice weapon to go alongside of Sutton and company. So what are you thinking about Denver now? In terms of
so I like what Denver did here. Do I think they paid too much for Waddle? Absolutely. But at the same time, they are following the Rams blueprint of we don't care about these picks. Let's go get a ring. Right. So this team was an injury away from being in the Super Bowl. So yeah, you're like, hey, you know what? We don't care about these next picks coming up. Let's just go ahead and go all in and try and win this ring before we have to start paying people. Because after this next season, they do have parts of this roster they got to start paying. And, so when you look at it from that aspect, you're like, yeah, okay, you have to do this. And they gave up some stuff to get, it's not like it was crazy though. They gave up a first, a third, and then it was a pick swap in the fourth round. Right. So really what you gave up was a first and a third for Waddle. He's a good enough receiver to get a one. A third you can get back in a comp pick at some point, and you swap the fourth, which who cares? So it's not like they gave up an insane amount to go get him. Like if they gave up 2 number ones or something, that would have been way too much. But you can't tell me that you can guarantee you'd get a Waddle caliber receiver in a first round pick. You can't tell me that would happen. So for you to give up a first and a third, I'm not mad at that, because again, next year is probably your best year before that window. It doesn't close or anything, but it's not as wide open because you got to start paying people, which means your talent level is going to drop.
Hell yeah. It's good. That little cap is a heck of a thing.
It gets everybody.
So my question is, if I'm Malik Willis,
yeah,
and I just went to Miami to take the next levolution in my career, and they got rid of arguably my best receiver because now obviously Tyreek Hill's not there anymore. So now you have no Hill, you have no Waddle. What are you thinking? What's going through your head if you're Malik? Are you like, okay, we're going to trust the process? They're going to get us some wide receivers, or
they are not getting you receivers. They are
exactly.
If you're Willis, you're looking at this as they're trying to get a quarterback in next year's draft. At the same time, then you're wondering, why did they even sign him?
Right.
If you're going to just jettison the entire roster,
right,
just let Ewers take the snaps. Let Zach Wilson do work. You already had QBs there. Yeah. Willis doesn't move the needle. He's not enough better to go play, superhero. So I'm not really sure what the thinking was there as far as signing Willis. It didn't really make any sense to me.
It makes no sense. And I get it. You have Havley or Hafty. I can never say that guy's name right. For the guy, the coach I got from Green Bay. Obviously, Malik Willis was there. They have a connection. Maybe that's why he wanted to bring Malik, because they had the connection. Whatever.
Well, that's
but at the same time, yeah. But at the same time, though, like you said, Bo, if you're gonna look, they basically said, look, you can't have Ashney. Ashney, how do you say his name? He is definitely with the team. You cannot. We're not trading him. Don't ask about it. He's our guy. But everybody else, carte blanche, let's go, because it seems like that's what they're doing. It's like a moderate or some kind of weird rebuild. It's like a full rebuild, but it's a rebuild.
This is a full rebuild. You just punted your entire offense.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're in full on rebuild mode. That's why signing a quarterback didn't make any sense, other than there was an existing relationship there. But I mean, when you look at what they're trying to do, it didn't make any sense. And no, Rob, I would not have gone for AJ over Waddle personally. AJ is a better talent.
He is expensive.
Waddle's expensive too. So it's not even that. It's an attitude difference.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Picks wise, it would have been more to get AJ because you'd have had to have 2 number ones. But the big thing is when he's not getting his touches, he makes noise. Waddle is used to being wide receiver too. Right. So he'll be able 100%. To just come in, do his job, and he doesn't make a lot of waves, right? Like, he doesn't come in and be a distraction. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a Super Bowl caliber team that you're trying to add some pieces. Last thing you want to do is create noise around your franchise, because what's the 100%. One thing you notice when there's noise around a franchise? They underperform.
Yep. 100%. And that's the thing. I think Waddle knows, okay, Sutton is the number one. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be the number two. Like, he's a Tyreek, and I'm coming in to be his Robin, the Batman. And like you said, he's fine with that. I think he's the guy. He's like, just give me the possession touches, a couple here and there, and we're good.
Yeah, I mean, he'll still be 1,000-yard receiver. So, I mean, it's not like it hurts his legacy or anything like that. Like, it's actually great to be a wide receiver too, because you don't have the top caliber corner on you. And do you have to gut out some rough yardage? Sure. But you get your touches because your number one guy generally has some sort of blanket coverage, right? Because number one receivers don't generally end up with one-on-one, right? They usually have like a safety shade in the top or something like that, which means as wide receiver two, you're going to get the best opportunities to do something. Smith-Schuster is probably one of the best versions of that, right? Is, when Antonio Brown was there in Pittsburgh, he was balling out of his mind, right?
Right.
Because everybody was following Brown around. So he had a monster year. He had the team MVP award, all that. And then he leaves there. The rest of his career, because they kept trying to make him wide receiver one, was okay. Right. So, do I think Waddle can be wide receiver one somewhere? Maybe, but he's a really good wide receiver two.
I wouldn't mind being the wide receiver too, because I feel like you're going to get better looks and you're going to get more, in some cases you should get more yardage because you wouldn't have as much coverage. Like, for example, look at Pickens. That guy went from, now granted Dak is able to get the ball out much, much better. So he has a better quarterback getting him the rock. That was probably step one. But step two, CD required a little bit more double coverage. So it took some of the pressure off of him, and he just did what he did. And I think it opened up a lot. And you kind of saw what Pickens, what he could really do when he's set up for success. And this team, the Dallas offense, set him up for success. And I think Denver is going to do the same thing with Sutton and Waddle. I mean, I think you're seeing a classic of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing that was interesting, Max Crosby came out and talked a little bit about the Ravens experience on a podcast. I forget the name of the podcast offhand, so I do apologize for that. But basically, he was talking about the fact that they made him fly just commercial flight out there. He landed in DC, so then they made him drive down 2 hours to get to the spot rather than sending somebody to go get him, which is weird for a guy that you just gave up the moon to go get, right? And then he went on to say that he goes into the facility. They take him to do his physical stuff, he didn't see the coach or the GM for 5+ hours that he was in the building until after the physical and all of that. That is crazy to me. You just gave up multiple picks to go get this guy. You're going to pay him a ton of money. You can't greet him when he arrives. Like, this isn't an unscheduled visit. Like, you know, this dude's coming. You can't figure out how to go down and like say hi and whatever. So yeah, he went, he said that he talked to the coach afterwards, that the energy was off when they were dapping it up. And then the GM, they take him up to the GM and basically, they let him know that the medical is off and they're going to have to back out of the deal. And so he was talking about being a little bit worried about that. Like, oh, like what happened? Like what's in these? He talked to his doctor, which is one of the best surgeons around. And he's like, this is exactly like everything shows you're exactly on track. So this was 100% the Ravens just dealing in bad faith overall.
Yeah, this whole thing was, I'm glad you brought this up because I did want to talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up because this is messy on both ends of the stick, right? It's messy for the Ravens, and it's messy for Max, and it's messy for the Raiders. And the reason why I'm saying that is, I'm going to tell you right now, this is just what I firmly believe. I think they went after Max because the Ravens have never done this. They've never given up draft capital for a free agent like that. They've never, first time in franchise history, I think they've ever done that. But they're going to do it. I think they went and said, you know what, we're going to get this guy. We're going to bring, because our defense was so bad last year. We're going to grab him up. We're going to hold on to him for a second. We're going to wait and see what Hendrickson does. Because if we can get something done with him, then we can back out of this, keep our draft picks, and get. I think they had him in place. And if they couldn't get Hendrickson, and then they were going to go all in this direction, okay, this is where we're going to go. But if they had a chance to get this guy and keep their draft picks and still get a comparable guy, yeah, it makes sense that they're going to. And that's why I think the energy was off, and why I think that physical was weird from what his surgeon. It just doesn't add up. And the only reason it doesn't add up, the only plausible reason could be as if they were stringing him along while they were waiting to see what Hendrickson was going to do and see if they could go after him. And they just didn't want to fully commit until they knew which way was going to pan out for them, and then they were going to go all in. Which is a weird way to do business.
And that's why I say it sounds like they were dealing in bad faith.
Yeah, for sure.
The rumors are that Hendrickson was even in the building at the same time.
God, could you imagine that?
So, I mean, that would be really wild if that was the case. But now all of a sudden you're hearing stories that this isn't the first time that the Ravens have been dealing in bad faith with this GM. They sent a corner to the Eagles that ultimately was there for 10 days and then retires and was dealing with injuries that were unreported by the Ravens. So it sounds like there's a little bit of a history forming of this GM dealing in bad faith. And that's going to make it very hard to secure players moving forward because it's not like this is a huge community, right? There's 32 GMs total. So if you're burning guys, that gets around the league quick.
And this is what I say. This is why I feel like it's messy for Max and it's messy for the Raiders, and it's all because of the Ravens that created this mess.
So it's not messy. It's not messy for Max. He'll play wherever.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not meaning it's messy like that. That's not what I mean. When I'm talking about the mental aspect of it. So now he has to go back to a team who just traded him, which basically says, "Hey, Max, we're done with you. Now we're sending you over here for picks. I'm going to get you back." And now, okay, so what I'm saying is when Max goes into the building, look, we're all human beings. You can't tell me you walk back into a building where they just traded you from, and you're back there, not because they wanted you back, but because the Ravens sent you back. So now it's kind of like I'm working for a team that doesn't really want me because they traded me. I guess what I'm saying is, how does Max then go back and say, okay, I'm all invested in the Raiders, and the Raiders, I'm all invested in you, because there's got to be a sense of awkwardness there. Like,
sort of, right? I mean, so on its face, sure, I can get down with that. But at the same time, you do have to understand the business end of it as a player. And so, if you have a team that's giving up multiple first rounders for you, you kind of expect your team to let you go. Be like, hey, you know what? You've been great here. You've given us everything you can. But at the same time, you're going back to a new coach, new players, And so when you look at it from that aspect, it's like, okay, well, let's see what this new regime has, because you don't play for the GM, right? The GM makes moves, but after that, you play for your coach and the other guys in the locker room and stuff. So will it be awkward for the first, week or something? Yeah, maybe, but then you're back to work, right?
Let me ask you this. How many times, because I know I've heard it countless times, and almost to a point where it's almost like cliche at this point.
Sure.
How many times do you hear players say, I just want to play where somebody wants me. I want to play here because they wanted me here, and I'm glad to be here. I feel the energy. Now the energy is off with the Raiders. You can't tell me that Max don't feel that way. He wants to play where he's wanted. Well, and I know there's a business side of it. I'm not arguing the business side. I get that. But still, we're human beings. There's still an emotional part of you as a player that wants to be wanted by the franchise you're playing for.
There's no chance that his coaches don't want him. Right now, if you're the coach there and they're like, hey, we're going to let this guy go, but we're going to get 2 number ones. You're like, okay, I mean, I get it because we're building something. Sure. But it doesn't go through. And you're like, oh, good. I have an anchor on my defense that I did not have. So that coaching staff wants him. So that's why I made that comparison. Like, you don't play for the GM. The GM is there to have talent on the roster and make the numbers work. Right. But you don't play for them. You play for your coach. And so the coach is new. The regime is new. Like, all of this is going to be a new situation. So I do think that that Max will be fine in that scenario. Not to say that he doesn't still get moved. I mean, anything can happen.
I was just about to ask you that. I still feel like this isn't completely done with Max. I would not be surprised. I still wouldn't be surprised if Jerry doesn't package those 2 number ones together and go after Max. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls that off, because he has done a lot of restructuring, and I feel like he could slide him in. I'm not saying he's going to, but I still feel like he could slide him in.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Like, you guys still need pieces. You'd be better off to just actually draft some people.
and again, you're right. I don't argue that point at all, because you're right. We got a lot of pieces to fill. We should, and not on the offense, but it's all on the defense, right? Secondary help, front help, all that stuff.
Not only that, but the last thing you want to do is you just cleared up some space.
Right.
You want to bury it in one guy?
Well, here's the thing. When no, you're right. No, you bring up a valid point. That's a good point. And here's my counter to that point. My counter to that point is, when we gave up Parsons to Green Bay,
sure,
we gave up. He was our identity. He was our identity as much as Ray Lewis was the identity of the Ravens, or Suggs of the Ravens. I mean, that's how you identify us, was by Mike Parsons. And I feel like we lost our whole identity with that guy. And I feel like, yes, I understand bringing one guy in for 2 picks. Yeah, you're asking a lot there. But also, you could be giving the identity back to a team that has no identity on defense.
Well, but the problem is you're not a Max Crosby away, right? You are 12 guys away from being competitive week in and week out. You have a great offense, sure. Defense is awful. So, and special teams can't get out of their own way half the time. So when you're looking at it from that aspect, you need a bunch of stuff. And so giving up those picks again, and bringing in a guy, does it help your defense? Sure. Does it make you an actual contender? No.
Question: when we gave up Micah Parsons, where was our defense rated? Because I guarantee it wasn't dead last. Our defense was the top defense, right?
No. It was actually last.
With Parsons there, it was still last. I didn't think we were that bad.
No. You had the worst defense in the league. You occupied the best offense and the worst defense at the same time. Your defense statistically got better after Parsons left.
I thought I saw a statistic where we were actually better than that. Yeah, I get it, man.
So you had a drop. You had a drop in pass rush, but your elevation in run stopping went through the roof comparatively. Like, you were so much better against the run without Parsons. You didn't get as many sacks after he left, but the defense statistically as a whole got better.
Yeah, we still need corners, and we need an edge. I still think you could take one of those, what about even packaging one of those? Well, I was gonna say, what about packaging those two together and moving up to get Desmond Bain? the Miami guy or even Bailey out of Texas Tech, either one of those two guys would be great on the pass rush, but then it goes against what you're saying, which I understand what you're saying too. Yeah, Jay, you're going to get one great guy, but you still got issues in your secondary. So I understand what you're saying. I do.
What's wild about this is
It's
were
crazy.
actually worse than Cincy. As insane as that was, they actually did have a worse rated defense than the Bengals, who straight up didn't play defense. So figure
That's
that one
bad.
out. I don't know.
Bad.
That being said, we do got to get out of here. We're up against some time wise. We appreciate you all coming in. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on the radio, 97.3 ICU Radio, there is some smooth jazz headed your way coming up next. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Take it easy. Yeah, take it easy, everybody.